everybody and welcome back to the Blossom Crochet channel. In this quick project tutorial I will show you how to make this absolutely gorgeous and super sweet little Christmas Santa inspired crochet headband or ear warmer, whatever you want to call it. It's a really quick project to make. I made this in an hour and it's mindless. It is so quick, so easy, definitely suitable for a beginner as well. And at the end of it, you get this really sweet and beautiful finished item. So for the entirety of the project, I'm using a chunky yarn and a 6mm hook. So obviously if you're using a different weight of yarn, just bear that in mind when it comes to your measurements and things. But yeah, it's the most beautiful, soft, silky project and it is so super snuggly and super warm. So yeah, let's just crack straight on with the tutorial. So for the purpose of the tutorial I'm going to be using this Shapey's Chunky Monkey and this is the shade Cardinal. And I'm also going to be using the Shapey's Furry Tails for our lovely furry edges to our work, and this is just the shade Snow Queen. So you'll start with your slip knot on your hook and then you're just going to do a long chain to start with. So I will leave approximate lengths for the headbands in the description box based on age. So these are just average head circumferences based on age, but these aren't the measurements in the description box are the rough guide for headband size, not the full head circumference, because obviously it will be a little bit smaller than the actual head circumference, because otherwise it will just slide straight off. So do check the description box. So you'll just chain your length, so yarn over and pull through. It's 1, 2, 3. So if you just chain whatever size chain you need for your chosen recipient. So once you have got whatever length you require, you will just work back doing a row of UK double crochet. So for the entirety of the main band of the headband, we will be using UK double crochets. But do remember in the US, these are your single crochet. So into the second chain from the hook, so we've got 1, and this is our second, you'll insert your hook, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through both. And you'll just put a UK double into every single chain all the way to the end. So I've worked that all the way along. I'm going to turn my work and straight into this first stitch here I'm going to insert my hook. I'm going through the whole of the stitch on this first one, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through both, and that is our first double of the row. So now when I turn my work, I've got these lovely V's all the way along the top, and we're just going to be working into the back loop only. So normally you might go through the whole of the stitch to get the V, whereas we're just going to work in that back loop. And you're just going to work back loop double crochets all the way along. So insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through both. Again, back loop only, and work that all the way along. If you're not 100% sure or confident about keeping your edges straight, every time that you do that very first stitch of a row, pop a stitch marker in it so that when you come to work back along this row in a minute, you will know exactly where that end stitch needs to be. And so for the entirety of the rest of this headband, you are just going to work row after row of back loop UK double crochet all the way along until your project is the size that you want it to be. So I will leave you here and then I will meet you back once you've got a nice long band of lots of back loop double crochet. Okay, so I've got my work here. You can see I've got these lovely ridges to complete this. And I've fastened off and I've left a nice long tail because we're going to use that to sew our ends together now. So I'm going to bring my 2 ends together and I'm going to just thread up my needle. So I'm just going to fold my 2 ends together. Obviously make sure you've got no twists. And then we're just going to whip stitch along this edge to join it together. So I've got my tail on the end facing me and we'll just go through the other stitch on the other side. So we'll have nice corresponding stitches all the way along. You can obviously pin this or use stitch markers to hold it in place if you want to. Bring that back across and always go through from one side to the other. And then again do your next stitches. And just whip stitch to close all the way along, making sure that you're working evenly, because you don't want to get to the other end and have lots of stitches left over on one side. So try and make sure that you check as you go along to make sure you're working where you need to. And pull them nice and secure. So once you get to the end, just work a couple of whip stitches into your final stitch, just because obviously you're going to want that to be really nice and secure. Okay, so that is how your join should look. I'm just going to take off this long end for a second, and I'm just going to sew in the tail from where we started from. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this long tail for now, and I will use that to pull this all together when we get to that point. But for now I want to add my lovely fluffy yarn all the way around the top and bottom. Now, because we're only using it to do one round of stitches, we're not going to have to worry too much about how to work with this yarn when it comes to finding more stitches, because you're not going to need to work into the tops of any stitches or anything like that. Okay, so I know this isn't going to be great for the camera, but we're just going to go with it. So I've got my normal slip knot on my hook, and I'm going to join my yarn along the seam. So I'm going to insert my hook into a stitch. So I've gone through the whole of the stitch this time because we want this to be nice and secure. I'm going to yarn over and pull up, and I'm just going to put a double crochet onto every stitch all the way around. So because it's fluffy, you're going to just need to make sure you move it to make sure that you're not missing any stitches, and you're literally just going to put a double crochet into every stitch. Now, I do know for the tutorial and the camera this isn't easy to see, but doing it with your bare eyes, like to the naked eye, it's a lot easier to see. So I'm just going to work a double crochet into every single stitch all the way along. And like I say, because we're not building row upon row of this, we're not going to have to worry about finding the tops of stitches or anything like that. So if you just work that all the way around until you get back to where you started. Okay, so I've gone pretty much all the way around now. I do have a couple of stitches here that I'm not actually going to work into because I'm just trying to reduce the bulk when we pull it down into the centre in a minute. So I'm just going to leave a few bare stitches. I'm going to chain one as I normally would and snip off, and then I'll just pull that tail through and tighten up as normal. So I will just hide these tails. You can either use your normal needle to do that, or you can use a hook just to pull that tail through some stitches. And then you're going to turn it upside down. Just make sure that your tail is out of the way because we are still going to need that in a minute. And then you're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So again, I've stopped a couple of stitches short of where we started from, and I'm just going to snip off. Chain one, and then just pull that tail out. So I'm just going to very quickly sew in my fluffy ends. Okay, so I'm all sewn up now, and I've got my tail back on my needle. And at this point, we just want to bring these edges in a little bit together so that we get this pinch in the middle. So if you just get that however you want it, and then you're literally just going to stitch up through all of those layers and then back down again, pinching it in the placement that you want, and just work a good few stitches up and down to keep that exactly how you want it. And once you feel like that is nice and pinched and nice and secure, you can just weave this tail in as normal. Obviously I always feed it back to the inside, and then I will just weave in as normal. Okay, so I've got it nice and pinched now, and now I just want to make the cover part for this. So just bring back my red, and then I'm just going to chain 14. So I've got a chain of 14 here, and that just fits nicely around there. So now I'm just going to create a rectangle of back loop double crochet, just like the main body of the blanket. So into your second chain, you'll start with your double crochets, and then your next round you will just do your back loop double crochets, and you will continue that for a good few rows. Okay, so once you get to the width that you're happy with for around your headband, just go ahead and snip off, leave a nice long tail for sewing around, and then just sew in your starting tail. Okay, so once you've just got your long tail left, you're going to wrap that around the centre of your bow and just turn it inside out for a minute. Just makes it a little bit easier. So position it where you want it, and then just start with your whip stitch to join your two sides together. Again, you just work that all the way along. Okay, and at this point you want to make sure that your middle piece isn't going to slide or move around anywhere. So just pop your needle, if you can, straight through to the other side of your work. Pull it through, and then just catch a couple of stitches on the top. Obviously don't travel a great distance because you don't want it to be obvious, and then just push back through to the other side. You can do it again if you want to, but then you can just weave in this tail, and that just means that that isn't going to shift around on your work, which obviously you wouldn't want. Then again, you're ready to snip off, turn your work back the other way, and then you should have your beautiful finished headband. So that is it for the tutorial. Obviously, I really do hope that you have enjoyed this one, and I will join you for some more lovely crochet projects really soon. But thank you as always for watching, and bye for now.